Thank you. The first thing I want to go over is the email that was sent out this morning. You should have got an email from CSM, and if you haven't had the chance to look at that, feel free to open up your phone, take a look right now, and feel free to start working through that email during the meeting here this morning. And that email contains some very important things. It has a activities liability release form in there, and that's something that we need every parent to fill out for every student. You can just fill out the form once if you have multiple students in our ministry, but that's going to allow us to have all their contact information for if there is a medical emergency, and allow us also to, if for whatever reason I can't get in touch with you in that moment, it gives me the ability, if you allow me to make a emergency decision for medical treatment if it's needed. And so that, heaven forbid, we hope that never happens, but we did last year, I think a week or two after this meeting, had a situation come up where a student had an injury and couldn't get a hold of the parents, and I had to take him to the emergency room. So it is something that hopefully we never have to use, but if we do, we need that to be able to have it. And so if you could take time to fill that out, that would be really helpful. There's also a feedback survey in there, and I know if you're like me, when an email comes through that says survey, it automatically gets deleted or skipped over. And I'd ask that you would just take 3 to 4 minutes to fill that out. It'll give me your updated contact information, your students' updated contact information. That'll allow me and our leaders to be able to connect with them and with you, as well as gives you an opportunity to speak back into our ministry. Some of the things I'm going to discuss today, some of the changes we're making, are actually a result of things you all have suggested, and so we've listened and we've implemented those this year. And so I want you to think about some ways that we as a student ministry can better serve you and your families. And so if you could take a moment, that would be a huge help to me as well. Also, I just want to make a comment that the email is the primary means of communication. So if you're not an email person, or if you get hundreds of emails every day like I do, bear with me, and I do my best to make those emails as succinct as possible, as helpful as possible. I try to schedule them. The last couple weeks with the holidays and I've been on vacation, they've gotten a little out of my normal routine, but I try to send them on Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock every day, or every week, Wednesday morning, and with 2 or 3 highlights for our ministry, upcoming events, activities, the sign-ups for those with links. And so if you don't get the emails, or if you've stopped getting them, I know sometimes, especially Gmail, for whatever reason, the email will get lost. If you've accidentally or purposefully unsubscribed, let me just encourage you to come see me today or send me a text. I had a slide with my phone number, but if you don't know my phone number, come see me after the meeting today, and I would be more than happy to work on that and get that fixed. But that is the primary way that I communicate big announcements, events going on in CSM. And so let me just encourage you to make sure you're getting those emails so you can be in the know about things going on. So I think as far as that email goes, that's about it. This morning, what I want to do as well is talk to you a little bit about who we are as a student ministry, and introduce to you our leaders for this upcoming year. A lot of you have joined us in the last year. Some of you, this is your first time down in our youth building. And so over the last year, Calvary's experienced a lot of growth, and we praise the Lord for that. And that's, we've seen a growth in our children's ministry. We've seen a growth here in our student ministry. But one of our big things that we do here at CSM is we want to connect not just with students, but with families. And so part of the way we do that is by putting our leaders before you so that you can get to know them, You can spend time with them. You can invest in them because they're the ones coming alongside to partner with you and investing in your students. So what I want to do this morning is introduce to you our leaders, and then at the end of the morning, you're going to get an opportunity to spend some time meeting them. And not all of them are here this morning. I had a slide with their nice pictures, but it's not here. So I'm just going to work through my list here. And leaders, when I call your name, if you could just stand up and maybe wave so parents can see you. First off, with our 9th grade small group this year, we have Tony and Allison Amarikian. Tony and Allison are right here in the back. Tony and Allison are starting their 3rd year here in CSM, and so we're very thankful they're part of our team. They have worked their way up with these students who are now entering into 9th grade, and so excited about that. Josh Richards, where's Josh? Here. Josh is also working with 9th grade boys this year, and this is Josh's 2nd year, start of his 2nd year. Steve and Tara, are Steve and Tara here this morning? Did they make it? Tara's here, okay. Tara and Steve are old faithfuls here in CSM. We have emphasis on the faithful, not on the old, emphasis on the faithful. And when I say old faithful, what I mean is Steve and Tara this is the start of their 11th year in student ministry here at Calvary. And we've tried to calculate it. So Steve and Tara have stuck it out through the thick and thin, and so Tara's going to be working with 9th grade girls. Steve's going to be with senior guys this year. Next, we've got James and Stephanie. James is right there, and I'm not sure where Stephanie is. There's Stephanie. James and Stephanie are starting their 4th year here in CSM, and they're working with our 10th grade students. We've got Nolan and Peyton. Nolan and Peyton are also working with 10th grade this year, so if you have a 10th grader, those are the two couples for each grade and gender. And they are starting their 5th year of student ministry here. Dan and Miranda aren't able to be here. They're working with our 11th grade students, and they're in year 5 as well. Jared and Monica Leith, where are you guys at? Jared and Monica are here. This is year 3 for Jared and Monica, also working with our 11th grade students. Carolyn Farrow, where's Carolyn at? Carolyn's here. Carolyn also works for the church here. She is our administrative assistant. Carolyn is in year 3 serving with our students, and she's with the senior girls this year. Taylor Oldham, where's Taylor? Taylor is also working with the senior students and is starting year 4. Josh Struble, is Josh here this morning? Okay, Josh wasn't able to make it. Josh has been here for a couple years as well, and is working with our senior students. Sam and Joy Saston, where's Sam and Joy at? There you are. Sam and Joy are working with our middle school students this year, and I'll explain some of that. We've kind of adjusted some of their small groups, but they're in year 2. JJ Waltho, some of you have met him. He is on staff here at Calvary as a pastoral assistant. JJ is primarily working with the young professionals class. He's actually over there teaching this morning, and he is going to be helping me coordinate our junior high as well. And so I'll explain a little bit of more what that looks like. Miss Terry Culp, where are you at, Terry? Terry is working with middle school. This is year 5 for Terry as well. Austin Dang and Ellie Richmond aren't able to be here. They are starting this year. This is their 1st year working with middle school. And that's a unique story because Ellie is actually the first graduate of our ministry to come back and work in student ministry under my time here. And so that's pretty special for me to see one of our students go away, spend a year at college, and then come back and actually want to be a part of our ministry and pour into and invest in the next generation as she was while she was here. So that's exciting for me. And then last but certainly not least, we have Cole Kallenberger and Lyndon Petter. Where are you at? Colin and Lyndon are starting this year as well. They're going to be working with middle school. And Cole and Lyndon just got engaged a couple weeks ago. And so they're going to be married in the next year. And so that's our team. And part of why I shared with you the amount of time our team has been here is I wanted to point out and celebrate with you the fact that God has called many student volunteers here, leaders here, and He has uniquely crafted this team. And this team is a really special team because we have developed here a culture of leaders who are invested in your students, and they've stuck around. And so I went through all of this list yesterday, and we have 9 leaders who have been here for 5 or more years, who have seen an entire class go through high school and stuck with them. And that's just something that, I don't know how familiar you are with other student ministries, but you don't see that a lot. A lot of times people are in and out, they serve, and student ministry is hard. It's inconvenient. It's oftentimes a job that it sounds cool, and then once you get into the grind of it takes work. And these leaders have stuck it out. Many of them are in years 3 and 4 as well. They're going to be hitting the 5-year mark here soon as well. And so we're thankful for all of our leaders. God has been so kind to us, and I want to just brag on them that you guys have some leaders investing in your students who are very, very special. And so let's just celebrate our leaders this morning. Next off, I just want to remind you what we're about here at CSM. If you don't, I've been using the term CSM where we have several terms that we kind of use to refer to our ministry. CSM stands for Calvary Student Ministries. And some of the changes that we're going to implement this year are going to involve our high school ministry and also our middle school ministry, okay? And so, but before I get into that, let me just kind of remind you who we are as a student ministry, what our purpose is, what our goal is, and kind of what we're all about here. And so the first thing I want to just remind you of is that our student ministry is not a church. We are not a separate entity or a church in and of ourselves. We view our student ministry as part of the local church here at Calvary Baptist. We view our students as a vital and vital part of the body life here at Calvary. So our students isn't just something that we kind of do our own thing and go our own way and have our own vision and all this own stuff. No, we actually view it as we are a part of the church. We're an extension of the church. And so the focus and the grid through which we think through everything we do is how can we better further the mission of Calvary in the lives of 6th through 12th graders as we help them follow Jesus. And so what that means is, first off, we value Calvary, the Church of Calvary, and we are invested in making sure that our students know and are a part of the life of Calvary. And so we all the time are encouraging our students not to just come Sunday nights, not just to come to Sunday school to be a part of our group here, but actually to be a part of and engage in worship as a church here at Calvary. And so the morning worship service, which we're all going to be heading to here in a few moments, is a major part of our ministry. It also allows us to uniquely minister to our students because we aren't a church, but we're the extension of Calvary, and we're focused on making sure that our students are a part of the life of Calvary. We want them to sit under the preaching of the word. We want them to engage and serve in the ministries of Calvary. We would love, I know many of you are a part of community group, and I know the school year is incredibly busy with sports and work and homework and all these other things, but as much as you're able to, we would love for your family to be a part of that ministry and for students to be able to be a part of community groups and engage with the practical working out of the word there. But that allows us as a youth group to kind of focus and direct our time together, which is really limited, in certain directions. And so the focus of our ministry then, because we're not a church, we're not having to work through a checklist of things that a church does. Our focus then is we want to connect relationally with your students to help them know, follow, and love Jesus. And so the primary way that we do that is through relationships, and that looks like through connecting with your students in more individual settings. Growing up, the youth group I was a part of, we pretty much Sunday morning and Wednesday nights, we just had big group lecture times. And that was fine. It was kind of the normal thing for the day back then, and it was fine. But in this day and age, we feel like the way that our students, because they're a part of the main service, sitting under the preaching and teaching of the Word, and Pastor Andrew does a wonderful job of not only opening the text before us, but also helping all of us in every season of life to be able to understand the text. And so here we want to focus on helping students be able to work through issues, work through circumstances, understand truth, and see how it applies to life specifically in their context. And so we spend a lot of our time in small groups. We spend a lot of time primarily on Sunday nights. Our focus when we get together is relational. So we do dollar dinner. Those of you who have been here with us, we serve dinner every week for every item's $1, and the primary focus of that is to just come hang out, connect relationally with friends, with leaders, have conversations. And then we spend a lot of time just breaking up into age and gender-based small groups to discuss different topics or ideas or truths from the scripture and seeking to apply them to our lives. So that's kind of the focus of our ministry. We're relationally focused, and we really value relationships with our students and also with you as families. That's one thing this year that I would really like to focus on. I've been here for 4 years now. The Lord has been kind. I'm entering into my 5th year, my wife and I. And God has been so kind. And for the last 4 years, really, I've been trying to just figure out how to minister to students and connect with them and point them to Jesus in a way that's helpful. And so now, providentially, I want to broaden my focus to not only how I can help minister to students, help disciple others to minister to students, but also how I can connect with you as parents and families to come alongside you. We here at CSM are a resource for you. We aren't a daycare. We're not just a place for you to come drop your kids off and if you come and drop your kids off thinking, hey, my kids go to youth group, hopefully that's going to help them turn out all right, and they'll teach them truth and train them up and help them get their lives corrected. I would just really encourage you to rethink that because God has called you as parents to shepherd and guide and teach and train your children. And you all are doing that. I know you want to do that. And we as a student ministry want to come alongside you and help you do that. We want to support you in that. We want to say the same things you're saying to your kids. We want to help them think through and process things that they're going through. And we want to support you as parents. So in order to do that, we need your help. We got to get into life with you so that we know how we can best support you. And so I'm going to ask you, I'm going to make a big ask from you, okay? I have spent 4 years with these leaders repeatedly asking them to invest in prioritize relationships with your students. So this year, I'm going to ask you as parents and families to prioritize and invest in the leaders God's put in the life of your children. So that could look like anything from getting their phone number today and just sending them a text every once in a while, letting them know you're praying for them. It could be taking them out to coffee and getting to know them. It could be having them over for dinner. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to do, but allowing them into your life and intentionally pursuing them, letting them know that you're praying for them, letting them know how they can pray for you and your student, and invest in our leaders here. Okay, so that's my big ask. Also, just want to say this as well. One of the things that I'm trying to do a better job of is, like I said, connect with you as parents. So just be on the lookout for phone calls or texts from me. If a phone call or text comes, it's almost 100% of the time, it's not going to be that your student's in trouble. Okay, it's going to be me wanting to just connect with you to spend time with you, to get to know you better, to know how I can pray for you and care for you, and Audrey as well. So I just wanted to put that out there. The last thing I'll say about our ministry, one of the decor things that we're going to, Lord willingly, get up here soon is our tagline, which is Gather, Grow, Go. And those are our three big core values here. We value gathering, and by that I mean the relational aspect of being together. And I always say the number one rule of discipleship or ministry in a person's life is presence. And so I asked our leaders to prioritize being here on Sunday nights. And so I'm going to ask you as parents as well to prioritize CSM. It's only going to be as beneficial as you guys are able to be a part of it. And students, you know my heart. We talk about Gather, Grow, Go all the time. And you know that our primary focus is on Sunday nights. And so let me just encourage you all as well this year to make a commitment to prioritize being together here and coming for the purpose of growth. That's our second thing. When we come together, we want to grow. We want to grow. We want to see your students grow in every area of life. We want them to grow not only spiritually, although that's primary, but we want to see them grow as young men and women, mentally, socially, and every aspect of life. And so that's kind of our second thing. And then lastly is go, and that's kind of the idea that we try to keep in mind every time we get together with students, is that really there's a short-term view of going and a long-term view. The short-term being, we get students for an hour and a half a week, and we're going to send them back out into life. And so we want to use that time to prepare them and help them be able to sustain all the navigating trials and circumstances of life. And many of you, your students are facing those. They've got big questions that they're wrestling through, and circumstances and all the pressures of life. And so we want to keep in mind how we can best prepare them each week. And then with the long-term view of, ultimately, we have 7 years, if God allows your student to come all the way through our ministry, to prepare them to go into the next season of life, where they're going to be adults. They have to make decisions for themselves. They have to really wrestle with if they're going to follow Jesus and if they truly believe him. And so we're keeping that in mind every time we come with your students, how we can best prepare and minister to them. Okay, let me stop here for just 1 minute and see if there's any questions so far. Okay, great. Let me talk about some changes here in CSM briefly, okay? One of the things that we're doing this year, we actually started it last year, but we changed our ministry to align with the rest of Calvary. So previously we were meeting from 5 to 7, and the rest of the church activities on Sunday night was from 5:30 to 7. And so in an effort to kind of coordinate with the rest of the church and not be Lone Rangers, we changed that. One of the things you're going to hear this morning in the main service is actually a change that they're doing for adult classes. Adult classes now are going to be from 6 to 7. Everything else, students, truth trackers, re-engage, is going to be from 5:30 to 7 still. And so what that is basically you can drop your students off, you can drop your kids off, and then you have kind of 30 minutes. You can go get a cup of coffee. You can kind of get settled. You're more than welcome. All the classrooms in the building will be open to go in and fellowship. But the teaching time for the classes is going to start at 6, just to kind of streamline it so that the lectures aren't as long in those classes. And so our ministry is still going to be from 5:30 to 7. And so I just wanted to make you aware of that. Let me also just say, we are going to use that time to the max. So because our time is so short, and I did some math, it's over the next year through May, the amount of time we have with your students is like way less than 1%. That hour and a half accrued every week with the rest of time between them. So we have a very small minimal window. So we're gonna maximize it. So my request for you is, please don't come pick up your student unless you need to leave early or there's a situation. Don't come pick them up before 7. We're going to have small groups all around this building, and some in the lobby there. So if you come in, if you need to come get them, you got something going on, you need to leave, that's totally fine. But if you don't just come in and hang out here before 7, because it'll be a distraction and kind of defeat some of the things we're trying to accomplish in that short amount of time. The next thing I wanted to just alert you to is splitting our high school and middle school ministries. This is something we did this summer, and it's something that actually both students and parents have requested, and we've kind of worked through what that looks like. When I first came to Calvary, we brought both middle school and high school together because they were functioning as basically 2 different entities. They had 2 different leaders, and so what we wanted to do was unify, and over the last 4 years, we've accomplished that. And now we feel like we're at a point where we can actually still maintain that unity, but intentionally minister to both groups in specific ways. And so how that's going to look is this. Sunday mornings are going to stay the same. Middle school and high school will all be together. They'll be with me here down in the youth center from 9:30 to 10:15 for Sunday school. Sunday nights, we're all going to meet here at 5:30. We're going to have dollar dinner together, hangout time together. But when we start our programs at 5:45, students, high school students and middle school students are going to split. So high school students are going to come in here. We're going to do whatever program we're going to do, whether it's worship or game or teaching time. But more than likely, we're going to come in, give some announcements, and immediately go to small groups. Middle school is going to go to our middle school room, which is the far back room on the right side over here. And middle school is going to go over there. They have their own leaders, and they're going to have their program for the night. And so what that'll look like will be similar. They may play a game or sing. They're more than likely, most of the time, they're going to do more big group setting things. So whether that's a teaching time or game or whatever. And then they'll still have small groups and they'll have small group leaders, but it'll be less time. And we feel like just with working through that over the last couple of years, that's the best way to handle our 2 ministries and accomplish what we want to in ministering to our students. So that's some of the change. Activities as well. If you didn't get an activity card, make sure you grab one on the way out. The activities, you'll see they're clearly delineated on there. There's high school activities, there's middle school activities, and then there's all. And we have a very good balance of that, but also just trying to minister to both. Like I said earlier, JJ is on staff. He's helping me coordinate middle school. And what that looks like is middle school, I'm still going to be vitally involved in every middle school activity. And a part of them on Sunday nights when I'm able to, when students are with small group leaders. What it looks like for me is with splitting them, there's going to be times where I physically can't be in 2 places. And so JJ is going to kind of help me when I'm not able to be there. He's going to help me coordinate and cover that. And so he's also been a huge addition to me, just helping me think through new ideas, and specifically I've asked him to kind of engage his mind through the lens of a 6th through 8th grader to kind of help me think through things there. So that's really there's not a big difference there, but just wanted to make you aware of that. The next thing, this is also something that was requested, but over the past, we really haven't had the opportunity to do electronic payments, and that's been a frustration. It's been just complicated on our end, and then I know a lot of you have asked about Venmo, and for a while I was accepting it, and then what it turned into was basically I just had to write checks out of my personal account and turn them into the office, and just for my own protection with accountability, and also so that my bank account doesn't get all wacky every month. What we did was we looked into Venmo. Venmo is not an option for us, just for different things. But what we did was we were able to create a Square app account, which is point of sale. A lot of restaurants, coffee shops use this, and it will allow us to take credit cards, debit cards for activities. So bigger activities like camp, retreats, those are going to come to you through a form on Alexio, and you can pay directly through there. But for dollar dinner, for smaller activities, you're still welcome to pay for with cash or check, but we're also going to take a card as well. It works with Apple Pay, and so you're welcome to use that. That was a suggestion, and I want to highlight we listened, and so hopefully this will be a help to you all going forward. Okay, the last thing I want to cover, 2 notable events coming up. First off is our high school sanctified retreat. That's on the calendar card if you have it. This is a big retreat weekend that we do every year, and it's on October 21st to 23rd. We're going to a new location this year. I'm going to try something else out. And so this, we're still trying to land on a theme. In the last couple of years, we've done a retreat on dating, sex, and marriage, and helping our students have a biblical worldview of those things. And so trying to land on a theme for this year, but just want to put that on your radar. The other thing is camp. Camp registration is going to be coming up here shortly, and I don't have the specific dates yet. I'm waiting for speakers to be announced and registration to open. But this next summer, we're going to, in keeping with our philosophy here, we want to expose our students to many different ministries and perspectives. So we're actually going to offer 2 camps this summer. We're going to take a group up to the wilds of North Carolina. And I know for many of you that works well because it's close, it's familiar, you know it. And so we're going to take a group up there, and then we're also going to take a group down to Woodlands in Georgia, which is a Christian camp in the North Georgia mountains. This is a new camp for us. Our student ministry hasn't been there. My wife and I both work there, so it holds a special place in our hearts. And so we wanted to offer both of those to you all this next summer for our students. So keep an eye out for those things going forward. And as far as activities and things, that is all that I have. Once again, please make sure you grab an activity card. Do we have more of those?
Yep.
Perfect.
On the table.
Okay, they're on the table next to the water fountain.
This is your phone?
Yes, my phone number and email is on there. So feel free to call me or text me. Also, please fill out that email liability release as well as the feedback. If I don't have those from you this week, I'm going to reach out to you individually, just because we need to have those releases. And so just be on the lookout, and it'll help me out if you're able to fill that out as well. All right, any questions as we close? James?
Question, you said we start at 5:30, how early can the kids be dropped off?
5:15. 5:15 is when the doors will open. We will have leaders here at 5. We meet at 5 every week. That is just so that we're on the same page, and we actually are trying to spend some time praying for the night and for our students. So if you can not drop your students off till 5:15, that would be a help. And then, as always, if you have questions, concerns, feedback, if you want to talk to me about anything, please know that myself, Audrey, we're always here. If your student needs something, we're always here and available. And so please don't ever hesitate to reach out. We would be more than happy to meet with you or help you or just simply pray with you. And so let me close us in prayer and then we'll be dismissed. Our God, we thank you for the things that you have been doing here in our student ministry. Lord, we ask as we look forward to this new year of Sunday school, of Sunday night gatherings, of small groups, of activities, of one-on-one conversations and family ministry. Lord, there's a lot to do and there's a lot going on. But Lord, we want to make sure we're centered on you. And so God, we ask that you would bless our student ministry this year. God, ultimately what we want is not a smooth, clean program, but God, we want your glory to be the driving center force of our ministry. And God, we want you to accomplish things for your glory in the lives and hearts of these students and these families. And so God, we thank you for the privilege we have. We ask your blessing and your favor on this. God, would you do awesome things in the hearts and lives of students this year? And we give you the praise. In your name we pray.